Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Now, recently I've noticed many players trying to go for double harvesters, and you never want someone to be freely farming his crystals with double harvesters because you know he's gonna have those expensive Temple of Nod units and Tech Lab units, and you don't want to see those because they're gonna be a lot of problem for you in the early to even mid or late game, depending on how quickly he pumps them out. So what I do is I start off right into a War Factory, into a Predator tank, because I was suspecting this guy may also have double harvesters, but in fact he just rushes into a sniper right off the bat here, and he also has a missile squad. So he actually thought I might go for double harvesters or maybe a single harvester, and he was trying to kill my harvester early on, and that's kind of what I was trying to do as well. So he decides to move his 2 units onto my crystal patch. I moved my tank to his crystal patch, waiting for him to build a harvester. He was probably waiting for me to build a harvester here as well. Now, my only anti-infantry unit here is the rifleman, and I was not going to build a rifleman because he has a sniper. So what I want to do is I'm going to save up until 70 crystals, go for a Predator tank, because I know Predator tanks can handle a sniper and a missile squad because they have so much health. And I was suspecting my opponent at this point, at the 60 crystal range, he may build a harvester. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build 1 tank to defend against my mineral patch, against the sniper and the missile squad, so I can build a harvester of my own, and I'm going to move my tank that's already on his side to his harvester. And as you guys can see, he has a harvester up, and this is good for me. I'm going to fast forward this again, but I know the sniper will not be able to take out my tank, or that missile squad won't be able to take out my tank as quickly as it can, because my tank has a lot of health. So it's going to be able to do a lot of damage to that sniper, which allows me to build a rifleman, and my rifleman's going to kill his weakest sniper and finish off this missile squad, allowing me to build a harvester. Now, his harvester got sniped by my Predator tank, as you guys saw here. So I got free juicy 100 crystals here. I go for a Pitbull, noticing that he has a Talon, and his Talon is a very, very weak level as well, level 5. The Talon would mainly just keep his infantry units safe from my rifleman. But aside from that, the Talon wouldn't be doing very much in this game. And I pretty much captured his first missile here. I don't even need to go for a harvester. I could have, but I decided, hey, you know what? I'm going to just start killing more of his harvesters. And boom, there you go. You see a second harvester. I was thinking maybe I could go for a mammoth tank or 2 if I got the chance. So that's what I did. I kept trying to kill as many harvesters as I can here. My tanks, my Pitbulls clearing out his Talons, while my riflemen were clearing out his missile squad. So I was doing a very good offensive maneuvers here, and I'm just spiraling out of control here, guys. I get a mammoth tank out. I didn't even need a harvester because I was just farming from his harvesters. I didn't need a harvester myself, and this mammoth tank is obviously going to pose a lot of problems for him at this point, and I'm not letting him farm. That is the most important thing. I think he might have had a Tech Lab coming up soon here. Barely. Yes, he does build a Tech Lab at this point, but you see my mammoth tank now starting to roll and just destroy everything he's got on the ground. I roll over his missile squads, I double shot his harvesters, I get a second mammoth tank up, and of course that Talon ain't gonna do a thing to mammoth tanks. His best counter to the mammoth tank at this point is gonna be either the Titan or the Kodiak, and he just doesn't have enough crystals to pump it out, as I completely wiped out his economy the whole game. And that is how the game went. So anyways, a good game to my opponent, and he made a good prediction early on in the game. He probably had no idea I was gonna tank rush him, but he wanted to see if I was gonna go for double harvesters. That's why he started off with that missile squad and the sniper, but I played smartly and I beat him throughout this whole game. Now this is the second game I'll show you guys against my opponent here, playing as Commander Jade. And once again, I was thinking, hey, he might go for a double harvester, or he may try to go for double harvesters. So what I do is I go right off into War Factory once again and pump out a tank. And I'm going to start rolling my tank, of course, to see what he's got on his side of the battlefield. And boom, 2 tiles are highlighted red. And at this point, I get this feeling, hey, he's got some units on these launch pads already. And that fast militant tells me something's wrong. And he has no harvesters at this point. As you guys can see, I see a Scarab. I see no harvester. And he's got the top launch pad held by the Scarab. So I'm in kind of a precarious position. Once again, he either predicted me to you know, try to rush him, or he was just trying to claim these launch pads as fast as he can. But I do a nice maneuver on the top there by moving my tank first, letting those bugs hit my tank while my rifleman finished it off really quickly, as of course scarabs are weak on the health. Now because my rifleman does have one level higher than his militants, they are going to lose that fight, as I also do fire at him first, and I'm going to capture this first missile. And he finally does build a harvester at this point. He definitely tried to do that scarab, nice little scarab shenanigans in the beginning, but it failed. It did not work. He decides to push his attack bikes through, thinking he might be able to kill my harvester here. I build a quick pit bull to reinforce my harvesters, and he decides to go for a double harvester because look, he's also got Temple of Nod units, the Rockworm, and the Widowmaker. And once again, I build a tank ASAP because I see that double harvester. I'm going to try to kill that, of course. I'm not going to let this guy farm. And that's what I'm trying to tell you guys. If you see somebody going for a double harvester, you know, it's almost like you should just always expect that Temple of Nod or Tech Lab units to be coming out if you don't kill it. He does actually a great defensive job here with his harvesters as he moves both of them down to his crystal patch and away from the center patch, so I'm not able to touch it. But I boost one tank to the south to see if I could kill it. He fires a catalyst missile, which I dodged very nicely with Colonel Jackson boosted on my Predator tank. And I also dodged that Scarab from bombing my tank as well. So that was some sick micro from my side with the Predator tank. And the missile is pretty much almost done here. Even though I killed a harvester of his, I was able to secure this second missile, and I won the game. So once again, a lot of these players are still trying to go for that double harvester, whether they open up with it or not. In both of these two games, my opponents did not start off with a harvester, but I have played a lot of games where the opponents will just start off right into double harvesters, and that actually made my life easier because when my tank saw them, it was 2 free harvester kills for me. But anyways, let's move on to the third game. Alright, this will be the final game I want to show you guys. Once again, it's against a Nod player, and this time he has Commander Kane. Now, I'm going to start off with a War Factory, and I'm going to go for that tank rush again. He goes for a single harvester here. He decides to move his harvester towards my crystal patch, which was a very strange start. I thought this was very strange. And I see this with my tank. He builds a double harvester as well. So this game was looking like a 100% win for B, because I don't know if he meant to move that harvester to my crystal field or if that was like a blunder or if he was just not paying attention. I killed his harvester, and I'm just pumping out tanks and pit bulls. I know he has double harvesters at this point. I send a pit bull to the top. I kill a second harvester. He's saving all his crystals as best as he can here. He doesn't even care. It doesn't even seem like he cares about losing his harvesters. He goes immediately for an air tower, and he has this very scary unit called the Inferno Bomber. Now, unfortunately in this game, none of my units could really stand up against this Inferno Bomber. Maybe the Mammoth tank, maybe the APC, but they still will die very fast to these Inferno Bombers. Inferno Bombers are very difficult to deal with pretty much any ground units. And his Inferno Bomber being at the same level or higher than all of my units basically, are going to most of the times one-shot all of my ground units that I bring. The best way to deal with Inferno Bombers is anti-air units. So things like the Talon, Banshee, or of course the Mighty Hammerhead is kind of your only choice. Now I was able to build a Mammoth tank here, thinking maybe my Mammoth tank stood a chance. But he's got 3 Inferno Bombers here, and my Mammoth tank is just not doing enough damage. And it looks like it's going to be 3 Inferno Bombers on my Mammoth tank here. But I just didn't have the economy to sustain building more Mammoth tanks. Had I been able to build multiple Mammoth tanks, I might have had a chance. But at this point, he has 3 Infernos, and he's just going to be constantly reinforcing that. All he has to do this game is build Infernos. He does not need to build any Phantoms or anything like that because I didn't bring any Hammerheads. And you guys might think, hey, it's your fault for not building Hammerheads or not bringing in Hammerheads with this build. But the thing is, I've won a lot of games with just ground units without the need of Hammerheads. I think the Inferno Bomber personally is just way too strong. Like, that flame tile it creates is completely unnecessary in my opinion, because that flame tile Like, nothing can walk on, especially if I build missile squads, they're gonna immediately die. Missile squads or any other infantry units will not survive. So I do a last-ditch attempt here, trying to capture this second missile. He just continuously bombs my base. He doesn't even care about capturing this missile. And even though I caught that missile at the very end, that last bomb from his Inferno Bomber ignites my base. My base falls to rubbles in flames. And this last battle, my opponent absolutely gave no craps about how many harvesters I killed. I don't know if you guys noticed. He sent, like you guys saw even in the beginning, he sent both of his harvesters to the center crystal patch where it's much easier for me to kill his harvesters. And I killed his harvesters like 6 to 7 times. I completely demolished them, farmed them on his harvesters. But he didn't give a damn. He just built an air tower. He just kept building harvesters. And every time he got 100 crystals, he was pumping out these Inferno Bombers. And this is the power of these Inferno Bombers. If they're at a high enough level, they can one-shot or two-shot most ground units. And Mammoth Tank is definitely not the best counter to deal with these guys. In fact, I can't think of a single ground unit that can deal with Inferno Bombers well. Orca Bombers, on the other hand, they can die from certain ground units like the Missile Squad. And the Orca Bomber that does the carpet bombing thing, that new unit, you can bait out its bombs, and then you can go and kill it, you know, with stealth tanks or other units like that. But the Inferno Bomber, in my opinion, is a very, in fact, I think it's still a very overpowered unit, or it might be slightly overpowered. I just find it a very difficult unit to counter unless you bring in air units. But what if you don't have air units? You're completely screwed. This is like the perfect example to show you. No matter what I did in this game, there was no chance I was going to win unless I captured a second missile here. The second missile was captured, but my base burned just in time to his Inferno Bombers, securing his win. He would have lost had this missile fired first before my base going down, but even this couldn't do it. Those Inferno Bombers were just too strong, and this is the game that kind of really gives you that picture of how strong these guys are. And I'm still very surprised that CNC Rivals, the dev team, haven't really tweaked this unit yet. They've done some like minor adjustments, but none of them were serious enough to actually make this unit less, you know, overpowered, because I still believe this unit is slightly overpowered to quite somewhat overpowered, because if there's not a single ground unit that can counter this unit, I feel like that's sort of a problem, because I feel like every other unit has a counter from air and ground, or I mean two types of units, right? Whether it's vehicle and infantry or vehicle and air, something like that. But the Inferno Bomber has only one counter, and it's other air units. That's it. So I feel like the Inferno Bomber really needs a bit of a tweaking. I think that fire pathing that it leaves on the ground is definitely not necessary. Anyways, this is a long rant about me complaining about the Inferno Bombers. And once again, you guys could be saying, oh, I should have brought a Hammerhead. But like I said, this build has never really had a problem with any other air units except for this one unit. And I just still can't think of a ground unit that can really counter Inferno Bombers well, unless your ground units are way higher level than the Inferno Bomber. But if the Inferno Bomber is at the same level or higher, you're not going to be able to deal with this unit, even with units that have the same level. But anyways, let me know what you guys think about this current double harvester meta, because it is a thing for sure. And in this last example, if you have Inferno Bombers that have superior levels or that are strong enough to one-shot or two-shot things, you're going to have a pretty good time. Even if you have your harvesters killed, you can keep going for that double harvester build. So the CNC Rivals team definitely needs to look at this. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys next time.